Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll begin with chapter 13, verse 27. We actually read the psukim yesterday, and these are the psukim that are the beginning of the account of the spies after they come back from touring the land of Israel, their description of things to the Jews. And what we left off with is it's a little bit hard to understand what the problem was with what they said, at least at the beginning. So the Ramban on Pasuk Chaf Zayin, V'gam Sovas Chalav Udvashi, because Moshe instructed them to see was the land fat or thin, was it plentiful or not? Heshivulo, they responded, Ki the land is fat, the land provides much. V'gam savas chalav udvashi, and it flows with milk and honey. V'al sheilaso hayesh ba'etz, he posed the question to them, does the land have trees? Heshivu, they responded, V'zeh pirya, this is its fruit. The Ramban so far has summarized verse 27. This is what he instructed them. And by the way, he didn't just ask them to look. He asked them to bring fruits of the land, and they did. Everything that we've mentioned so far, they said truth. And not only did they speak truthfully, they answered what they were asked. They should have said that the people who reside there are strong and the cities are fortified, because that's they owe Moshe truthful answers. He instructed them, find out, are the people strong? Are they weak? Are they fortified or not? Aval hayarisham b'milas efes. The problem, says the Ramban, was one word in verse 28, the word efes. And that word preceded that the people are strong and the cities are fortified. Shimore al davar efes v'nimna min ha'adam she efshar b'shum inyan. The connotation of the word efes is it's not possible. It's beyond our reach. That was one word of editorial. They shouldn't have given any editorial, certainly not an editorial that they can't do it. That betrays a lack of faith in God. But the facts that they presented were all true. Vine amru lo haaretz hi shmeina v'gam zolav zavas chalav udvash v'apri tov. They said the land is good, abali efsher lavo aleihem, but we're not going to be able to do it. Because the people are strong and the cities are fortified. The Amru Od Amalek Yoshev Be'eretz Hanegev. Next verse 29, they now go somewhere else and they say, by the way, Amalek lives in the region. Lirmos She'ein Sham Ruach Lavo Ba'aretz Misham. To allude to the fact that it's going to be a really bad idea to come from the south. Kikulam Giborim, because the people in the south there are strong. Ki Amalek Badarom, Amalek lives in the south. Vaknani B'marav U'Mizrach, and the Canaanites are on the west and the east. V'Amori Bahar, and the Amorites are in the mountains. Hikidu Shlichusam, they did what they were supposed to say. Vayoniu Leif Ha'am B'Remes, B'Pnei Mora'am Shamoshe V'Aaron. So on the face of it, they did exactly what they were told to, but there were certain things in between the lines that they were hoping that people would pick up on. And it's Amalek, of course, they have bad history with Amalek. It was a big fight with Amalek. So between the word Ephes and talking about Amalek, remember the Ramban says the whole purpose of the messengers was to figure out what direction they should come from. But the way they conveyed in the emphasis on Amalek was also something to frighten the people. But as they're saying all these frightening things, they're afraid. They're afraid they're going to get in trouble with Moshe and Aaron. So they kind of use words between the lines. Amalek is a reference. Ephes was a one-worder, things like that. The one question that Moshe posed to them, they actually didn't answer was, are the people there small in number or great in number? They didn't address it. V'chein lo yiskiru tuva ki abedatum lemor lo amachar kach eretz ocheles yoshveha hi b'derech diba v'nei ama mu'atim v'chazakim ma'od. The reason they didn't get that far is because their plan was to say that the land consumes its residents, which means there's not that many people there. They haven't gotten to that yet, though. So there's not that many people there, but the people who are there are really strong. And by the way, the reason there's not many people there is because people die when they live there. The people understood the intent. And that's when everybody began to get upset. So on paper, on the surface of it, they're saying truths. They're not saying anything bad, but the in between the lines is real bad. That's what happens now in verse 30. Kalev silences them. Kishitako, he quieted them. The Omar, and he said, Alo na'alev yarashnu osa ki achol nuchala. We can go, we can do it. Lamer, he's saying, Emesu she'am chazak. I don't dispute the fact that the people there are strong. I saw them too. They are strong. Aval anachnu nechazak mehem ume'arehem habatsuros. But we'll do better than them. We'll overpower them. Hokain Omar la. So therefore he said, Ki achol nuchal la. We can do it, meaning what they described is true, but the editorial point of Ephes is incorrect. We're going to be able to do this. Oz, Anu Hamaraglim. Now, if you look at verse 31, the spies now respond to Kalev. Ufer Shudivreim, and they explained further what they meant. The Amru, now they say it explicitly. Lo nuchal alos elam ki chazak hu mimenu. We are not going to be able to go. They're too strong for us. Lemor. They say, forget the fortification of the cities. Even if the cities weren't fortified, even if they came out to the field to us, we still couldn't do it. So now they're doubling down. They hadn't said this before, but now they're saying it more firmly. Okay, so the initial wording was sort of in between the lines implication. Everyone understood what was going on. Kalev fires right back very firmly, not disputing the facts, but disputing the assessment of the facts, the analysis based on the facts. And then they respond to Kalev, speaking even more strongly. Now, let's look at verse 32 for a second. Verse 32. They brought out word about the land which they toured to the Jewish people, saying, the land which we passed through to sample it, Eretz Ocheles Yoshvehahi. It's a land which consumes its residents. And all the people that we saw there are people of great size. What's this language at the beginning of 32? They brought out the word about the land. What does that mean? They've been speaking for all these psukim. What do you mean they brought out the word about the land? Ramban on Lamed Beis. V'tam vayotziu dibas haaretz al bnei Yisrael ki holchu melifnei Moshe v'Aaron. They left Moshe and Aaron. Vayu omrim la'am ba'aleim. They started a grassroots campaign. They started going tent to tent to tell the people, these 10 spies. Remember, the spies represented 10 different tribes. So they had connections throughout the nation. That's what it was supposed to be. But now they're utilizing this in a very bad way. Ki eretz ocheles yoshveha. They privately started telling people, oh gosh, you don't even know the half of it. We just told you that the people are tough and the land has good produce. What we didn't tell you is there's something about the living conditions there that people drop dead. Ki mitchilak shayom lehem b'fnei Moshe she'aretz ha'aschol ha'mitvash su'lasi sham chazak v'chalav hayomer ki yachol nuchala hayom poschim u'mehem botchim b'kolcham u'vurasam u'mehem be'ezus Hashem b'giborim. The initial reaction by the people to the words was mixed. Some people were nervous based on what they originally said. And some people said, we'll be able to do this. We're capable. we fought Amalek, or we believe in God. God can help us. So they originally had a message, but Kali had a powerful pushback to them. So the reaction was mixed. Us, so then they fanned out. They started talking to people privately. And they said, this is more than the people are strong. The environment kills people. This pasuk later on, that they returned and they got all the congregation going with bad words about the land. They were really scared of the giants. And since they were really scared of the giants, now for the first time, the word that the Torah uses for what they say is diba. The connotation of diba is not just word. The connotation of diba is false messaging. So now for the first time, they're actually lying. So before now, they were telling the truth with their own assessment of what the facts tell you. But now they're really nervous because it's obvious to them they shouldn't go because they saw the giants for themselves. And they tried to tell people about the giants, but some of the people aren't scared of the giants. They have to get the people scared of the giants because the people don't understand what they're getting into. So they just start lying to them. But the lies are happening privately. Really, really interesting. The tam, the lama Hashem mevio son of Lord is also in Paul B'cheref. The meaning of why does God bring us to this land to fall by the sword? Kilo yaskiru dibas haaretz lemor gam came v'aretz mishakelas v'ra ki astiru amadavar azem Moshe b'bnei shelo amru hashluchim came bashim davar elav el kol eda ki yoid bohem ki sheker dibru. Now there's real intrigue here. So the people get very nervous. And if you look in chapter 14, verse 3, the people start complaining. The people said, why would God bring us to this land to die by the sword? To die by the sword. Well, the real kicker for what they said to the people was the environment is killing people. So why did they talk about that? Why would God bring us to this land that people die in? The answer is because the spies didn't say that publicly. The spies knew they couldn't say it publicly because they knew that they were lying. And they figured Moshe and Aaron would call them on it. So they only said it in private discussion with people. So since it was said in private discussion, people couldn't disclose it publicly. So there's so much going on. It's really interesting Ramban on these psukim. So I know we're not covering a lot of ground right now, and I apologize for that. But this is how the Ramban describes what's going on with what they said and the progression, sort of getting from point A to point B. Also,